So I'm going to go through all the flow of exercises that can focus on improving your balance. Now, balance can be problematic for any number of reasons. It could be a mobility problem in your body. It could be a motor control stability problem in your body. It could be something going on in your upper body. It could be something going on in your lower body. So a good place to start is just trying to reset the system, get your breathing right, get some mobility in the entire body. And a pretzel stretch is a great way to do that. So I got Christina lying here flat on her side, on her side. One knee up, just above the waistband, or about height of the belly button to protect that low back. And you see, what I'm going to have her do is cycle a breath. So I'm going to get her to just start laying here flat on her side. Cycle breath, breathe in. And as she breathes out, she's going to rotate. And again, she's pulling this hip back into extension, this hip up to flexion, so we're getting the hips involved. We're actually even getting the ankle involved, this back ankle involved a little bit here too, by her pulling on that foot, going into plantar flexion, pointing those toes. Obviously, we're getting the upper body involved, and when she gets to a point where she feels tension, we want to cycle a breath and go a little further. So she breathes in, she goes a little further. Now, what in the world does this have to do with balance? All we're trying to do is get a little bit of mobility, get the breathing right, help relax the body, the entire body, because the entire body's involved to make sure you're balancing correctly. So we're just setting the stage. Now, do you have to be on the floor to do this? No, do it on your bed. Use some pillows, help yourself get in a good position, but this is the position we're going for, and breathe through it. Now, after you do 4 or 5 breaths on one side, simply flip over and do 4 or 5 cycles on the other side, and then we can go right into the next activity. The next activity is going to be working on getting your ankles moving a little bit better. So with the ankle, we just want to find something around your house, anything that's going to get your toes up just a little bit. So we got a half bone roll. It could be a book, could be anything. It just elevates these toes ever so slightly. And again, getting you in this open position so it doesn't affect this hip. Because again, we want to work on the foot and the ankle. So we're going to work on mobility. So in this position, Christina's just working on mobility, getting it up, and that's half kneeling position. Okay? So after she does 4 or 5 reps, now we're going to work on getting that ankle opened up, moving a little bit better. Now I'm going to flip this over. And now she's going to work on some stability. So again, you don't have to have this thing that's really wobbly. You can simply take it on a book, take it on something, a narrow base, just that narrow base, something that just put a strip of tape on the floor and just go out over it. That would give you a little bit of sense, but this unstable surface is gonna be a little bit better. So if you got anything, you know what can work? Actually roll up a towel, take 2 towels, roll them up, put some tape around it. Even that can work a little bit as well. So we do this 4 or 5 reps on this side, flip around, do 4 or 5 reps on the other side, towel, balance yourself out. If one side is more difficult, just do that side a little bit more. So we go from laying on our side, resetting the system, focus on the ankle. Now we're going to go to standing. So we go to standing, and I'm going to get Christina. Now before we go standing, many people don't like to get in half kneeling. So one thing you can do, we can do the same type of stretch up against the wall. And Christina, hold these for me. So what I can do is just show you, just put this down right against the wall. So you don't have to go into half kneeling if you don't feel comfortable doing it. And just elevate those toes a little bit. So you can do the same thing against the wall that Christina was doing. Half kneeling, the reason we have you in half kneeling, it just isolates that ankle a little bit more. Here in this position, I've got a lot of other stuff going on in my hips, my upper body, but just elevate that toe and do the same thing. That preloading into the ankle actually will stimulate the ankle a little bit more, stimulate something called the proprioceptors once you get to that end range. That's one thing we're looking for, helping prep the system to do something that we're going to do we're going to do a toe touch next. So we're prepping the system in a little bit different posture position every time. So Christina, come on over here, let's do a toe touch. So for our toe touch here, we're going to have you in a split stance. So again, just anything you can grab around the house that elevate those toes, elevate those heels, slightly flex that knee. That slight flexion of the knee is what makes this difficult, and that's what makes this work on your balance. Because again, the more you get in that narrow base, so once you get those feet really narrow, like Christina's got, and you got one in front of the other, that creates instability in the system. So that's stability is what she's really got to focus on here. See, she's really working to create balance. So a lot of people who have a lot of mobility will want to really lock those knees out. So I got Christina keeping a slight flexion of those knees. She's just going up, touching those toes. So again, this is a little bit of instability. She's really having to work on balance. So 4 or 5 reps, touching one, flip it over, touch the other. Now we're going to actually put a cherry on top and work on our balance. So now, Again, I got on a little balance beam here. You can put a strip of tape on the floor, anything to get you in this single, really that inline position, but even a slight elevation makes a big difference. So even though she's not elevated very much here, so pull it on up. So we're working on single leg stance, but I give her a little bit of a training wheel right here with that stick. So just that little elevation will make a big difference. So if you got anything around the house, you can get on just an inch, inch and a half, even slightly elevated will make a big difference. If not, just put a strip of tape or a line on the floor and work on that line. All right, now how do we progress this? We're gonna lose your training wheel, Christina. Let's see how you do. Pull that up. Now she's working on single leg stance. Now from here, what do? We actually put everything together and let's just take a few steps, walk on that balance beam. To start, you can have her, so Christina, just take the stick. You can use some balance, so don't try to make it hard to start. Make it easy to start. Making things easy to start gives the person confidence. I want to give them some confidence. I want to feel like they are having some, making some strides forward, because if I make it too hard, they get discouraged. So let's give them some confidence up front. Once we get it down, shorten the stride to start. Shorten that stride and you can lengthen the stride. The better you get, really reach back and lengthen that stride. Short stride to start, some training wheels, progress to really elongating, really lengthen those strides out. All of this little flow is really there to help you create better balance. Hey guys, if you like the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. And if you want to stay informed, hit the bell so we can notify you anytime we put up new videos. And of course, any questions or comments, put those at the end. We'll certainly be checking them out and trying to respond. Thanks so much. And remember, always move well and then move often.